Pearson VUE online exams. This is a review of my experience doing a Pearson VUE online exam. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about a proctored exam. Now, a proctored exam means that there is an invigilator, if you know what that means. That's basically somebody who's keeping an eye on you to check you're not cheating. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the whole experience from start to finish. Now, obviously, this has been quite drastically affected by COVID and the global pandemic. And in the UK, obviously, it's still an option, or still the best way, and possibly even the only way to take a professional exam. For instance, if you're trying to get a Cisco CCNA, Cisco CC whatever, Juniper, F5, Oracle, Amazon, Microsoft, any of these certifications you will need to take via Pearson VUE. Now, traditionally you would drive or travel to a test centre, sign in, hand over your passport or some form of ID, take off your belt, take off your shoelaces, empty your pockets, put all your possessions into a locker, and then you would go into an exam room and sit at a desk, and they would log you in, and then you would begin your exam, and they would watch you via CCTV. So having counted up, I've actually taken 9 of these exams, and they cost in between 100 and I think the Cisco CCNP exam was actually £240, which is probably $300 Now, for those of you lucky enough to have a good employer, they will typically pay these fees. But if you're not in a job, or you're self-employed, or you're a contractor, you'll need to pay these fees, and they soon rack up. For instance, to achieve Cisco CCNP, it cost me 3 lots of £240, and that would then last for 3 years, and then after 3 years you have to retake one of them to renew the certification. So not to be sniffed at. It's something which is best if you can get your employer to pay for it. However, I couldn't. So to avoid becoming a dinosaur in my industry, I thought I would just take advantage of some free study materials provided by Oracle, OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Now, there's a foundation exam which you can pretty much pass with the free study material, and the exam was actually reasonably priced, around about £88, I believe. It might have been 82, I can't remember, I'd need to look it up. So I booked it, and I read this training material for approximately 2 weeks. You may have seen another video, which I'll put the link for, which was where I did the online lab session, which was also free. You can create a compute instance, a virtual cloud network. You can edit the security lists. You can create an Apache server, and you can SSH into it via a Linux VM, which is also part of the lab session. So yeah, I did that, and then on the day of the exam, as per the instructions, I logged in early, and let's talk about what happened next. So the first thing I did was I cleared my desk as per the instructions, and I also I didn't unplug, but I powered off my monitors. So I've got a monitor either side of my main screen. So I turned those off, cleared the desk, and then I clicked on the link in the email from when I registered for the exam, and then I waited for, I think it was probably between 5 and 10 minutes for a little pop-up chat screen to appear. Waiting for that, I actually had a message which said, "You are held in a queue." First, I was number 1 in the queue, and then it went to 0, and then I had error connecting, retrying, and then for about another 2 or 3 minutes, I went from 3 to 2 to 1 in the queue to being chatted to by somebody called Anu, A-N-N-U. So if you're watching Anu, you weren't that helpful really. So, oh yeah, I also forgot to mention, I'd had to enter my exam passcode, which is fine. Once I did that, it asked me to upload a photo of my workstation and the surroundings. So to the left of me, to the right of me, behind me, and in front of me. And basically all I was doing was taking a photo of a blank wall behind me, and it was such a small room I was sat in my house that it was quite difficult to actually take any meaningful photos. But I did that, and then I had to upload those from my phone. So yeah, you need to make sure you've got plenty of battery life on your phone, because without that you're not taking the exam. Okay, so by this time I had uploaded my photos of my workstation and my room. I had established a chat messenger kind of screen with Anu, and then Anu asked, this was all about probably 15 minutes after first starting to log in. So by this time I was already aware that the time to the exam was fast approaching, and it was scheduled for 10:30 a.m. and I was fully aware that also if you did not make the time, then you forfeited your exam, so, or you lost your money and you couldn't take the exam. So yeah, that nobody actually said that, you know, this is fine, just because there's a delay with us administering the exam, you're still fine. So whilst waiting for the exam to begin, Anu then asked me to show that both of my other monitors were unplugged. So I actually had to then start dismantling my home office, and this is fair enough. Obviously, if somebody had 3 monitors, they could be cheating and reading the answers off the other screen. But if you're being watched via a webcam and you, oh yeah, the other thing was this was all being recorded. So there was a red circle in the screen saying recording. So already you just think, well, this is quite secure. This is, you know, this doesn't really give up much opportunity for cheating. So why do I actually have to crawl around unplugging all of my monitors? And oh yeah, the other thing was that there was a biro on my desk, and yeah, without any courtesy whatsoever, just had one liner say, remove pen. Okay, so hopefully you're with me so far. So I've clicked on the email, I've logged in, I've uploaded photos of my driving license as a form of photo ID. I've photographed my home office, left, right, forward, behind me. I've uploaded all those. I've unplugged my monitors, my second and third monitors. I've removed the pen from my desk, which was otherwise clear. And then I've kind of just waited and waited, and eventually Anu said, okay, starting the exam. This is where the fun began. So once he had clicked start exam, I thought, well, that's good, job done, so we're up and running now. And yeah, I really wanted to just get going, because I was fairly confident I was going to pass it. And yeah, it was a hot day and I just wanted to get it done and move on. So, first things first, I think there was a button to say start. Once you click start exam, then, believe it or not, there was a pop-up with 3 choices. And I think it was sort of okay, cancel, and the third choice was close task, or close program. What it detected was, about 6 months ago when I was working with a client, I was having to use Selenium remotely on his machine. It's a long story I won't bore you with, but because he was then getting tired of the endless testing, yeah, bug. Yeah, tip to you there. Selenium and testing. If you're ever doing a Selenium project, allow hours and hours for testing. Anyway, he was getting frustrated. I said, just let me stay on your machine and remote on. And it was, I believe it was AnyView. It makes no difference. It could have been TeamViewer, it could have been log me in or whatever. Anyway, the software on the exam had scanned my machine, and obviously it had done a scan in through the registry or whatever, and it detected that I had this remote software running as a background service in Windows. Oh, that's the other thing. You can only take this exam with Mac or Windows. Now, obviously, the exam I was taking was actually an Oracle exam, and Oracle Oracle have always promoted, developed, whatever, Linux. So the fact that I was already slightly miffed that I could not take this exam using my main Linux Mint PC, or I've got Fedora laptop, and I've got a Manjaro laptop. So I've got 3 Linux computers and a couple of Raspberry Pis. But yeah, so scanned the system. It found these 2 background programs. Right, this is where the fun began, because I had no way of ending these services without quitting the exam. I've subsequently realised that this was probably because when I was trying to bring up Task Manager with Control-Alt-Delete, I don't know, but I think Windows was potentially throwing up the Task Manager window either on screen 2 or screen 3. So it may have been popping up, but I couldn't see it. And I had the only way I could close any view or any of these services in the background was to close the exam. Well, I say that was the only way. It shouldn't have been, because all this time I was being viewed, or supposedly I was being viewed over a webcam with a little red circle in the top saying recording, and somebody was being paid to proctor. I believe proctor means kind of monitor or watch. So yeah, what was Anu doing? And I would love to have recorded it, but obviously I couldn't because I was obeying all of the rules. But for about 5 minutes I was frantically waving, pointing my fingers at the screen, screaming at the screen, shouting at the screen, just going berserk, and nobody noticed. So what does that tell you? It tells you that you're not actually being proctored, really. Whoever's at the other end is either way too busy or not doing their job properly. I don't care which, because I've paid £80 and I've not got what I asked for or what I was sold. So as far as I'm concerned, Pearson VUE, you should really hang your head in shame over this. It's a bicycle. Yeah, so although it was a proctored exam, once the exam had allegedly begun, I was waving my arms around, screaming at the screen, swearing at the screen, and I was doing this probably for about 5 minutes. It felt like more, but I don't want to exaggerate, so I would say 5 minutes. 5 minutes I was waving arms, shouting. I could, now this is the important bit, and I'm not advising you to do this, but I could have got a textbook, I could have got my notes, I could have got my Kindle, I could have got a laptop, my phone, I could have done anything. I could have been looking up the answers to all these questions, and they wouldn't have noticed. They would not have noticed, because despite the fact that they were recording, you can't tell me that they go back and watch these recordings. The whole point of being proctored is so that they can observe you whilst you're taking the exam. Once the exam's finished, I really, really don't think that they're going to go back and look at the recording. Maybe they do. Have you ever taken an online exam and they've gone back and looked at the recording and and then messaged you to say that you sneezed or that you looked down at the floor and then your exam's void because they think you were cheating? I really don't think that is the case. So, Pearson VUE, do not record me, take £80 off me, and then fail to acknowledge me when I have a technical problem which is beyond my control, And all this time I knew that the problem would be, as soon as I tried to bring up Task Manager any other way, the only option left to me was to close the window, which effectively closed the exam. And then to actually restart the exam, I was thinking it was almost certain that I would then be late for the exam, because I would have to go through the entire registration sign-on process again. And I was so angry I had to go away for 10 minutes, and by the time I came back and tried to retake the exam, all I got was a message saying your exam is expired, or you've missed the date for it, or I can't remember. I was so angry I couldn't really remember, and my head wasn't clear. But Pearson VUE, please give me my money back. I'm not currently employed. £80 might not be much to you, but it's a lot to me. I'm even getting angry talking about that exam again. Pearson VUE, shocking. Absolutely shocking. How you can say it's proctored, how you can say it's an online exam and make me unplug my entire home office, get photographs of everything, remove the biro from my desk, and then have the cheek to ignore me when I'm jumping up and down for 5 minutes. I really think that is poor. And if any of you have had similar experience, or if any of you have actually cheated, you don't have to give me too many details, but just say yeah, Pearson VUE are a shambles and you can cheat exams. Now, this is the other thing. I've now emailed them to say that why do I have to go through jump through all these hoops when you only have to go on YouTube? And if you've watched one of my recent videos, you'll see where I was actually using Pi Tesseract to scan, or not scan, to take effectively take a screenshot, 25 screenshots a second, and then do OCR. So what is the point? What is the point of being ultra secure when there are dumps out there? It makes a mockery of the whole exam system. It's a money-making racket. And I know this sounds angry, I am angry. £80 is, even in England, for me, that's about a day's pay. Okay, so you've probably got the gist of what happened with this exam. So I'm not going to rant about it anymore. All I'm going to say is, if you're going to do the exam, do it on a laptop. Make sure you've got no software running. So before you even attempt it, open up Task Manager and just close all of the processes, what they call services in Windows. Close all of your Windows services. Yeah, make sure you've got nothing in the background. Make sure you've not even got a pencil on your table. And you'll do fine. Well, I'm guessing you will. But don't expect the exam to be fully proctored, because from my experience, and this is just me, I'm not saying this happens for everybody, from my experience, the whole exam was a shambles. Because how can it be secure? How can it be secure when I literally was jumping up and down, swearing at the screen for at least 5 minutes? This makes a mockery of the whole online exam system. I was actually looking forward to it, because in the old days I used to have to drive probably a 3-hour round trip to Reading. Once I drove to Poole. Another time I drove to Bridgewater. So these are all 3-hour round trips. And obviously, if you're paying your own petrol, that's expensive. You're paying parking in Reading, that was £8. So to take an exam, if you're taking a day off of your own time, you're paying for the fuel, you're paying for the parking and the exam. This could cost you over £300. Well, in the old days it would have done. I don't know what the current cost is for a Cisco exam online. Obviously the Oracle one that I was attempting to take was much cheaper, and I would have guessed that's because Oracle were trying to claw some market share from Microsoft and Amazon with obviously with Azure and AWS. To be honest, all I'm cross about is losing my money. Oh yeah, so the final thing, just to finish off about this moan, and then we'll look at some countryside. The final problem, when I tried to contact Pearson VUE, the only way you can go to their website and try and contact them, I can't find a way. So you'll go on there and it says contact us or something. Then you're presented with a page full of questions, and unless your question matches one of their existing questions on the page, there's no other way to contact them. I don't know, maybe you can go on LinkedIn and find the boss of Pearson VUE and email him direct or something. To be honest, I think that's a long shot, and he's probably fed up of getting so many irate exam takers emails that he's probably kind of no, I don't think that's even an option. So yeah, to try and contact Pearson VUE with a problem which is not really your fault, and I had a legitimate reason for not being able to take the exam. That was their software had given me no option but to quit, and then as soon as I'd quit, I'd missed the exam slot. I can fully imagine them, even if I had got hold of them, they would just then say, well, we'll give you a new exam voucher. To be honest, you can stick it up your, I don't even want to take the exam anymore. I was not that enthusiastic to start with, and I was kind of forcing myself to do it, because sometimes you have to force yourself to do things you don't want to. Really, I just want to try and, I was only attempting to kind of stay relevant and just have some broad knowledge of cloud infrastructure. And to be honest, whether I'd done a Microsoft exam and an AWS exam or an Oracle exam, probably the same thing would have happened. So Oracle, have a word for Pearson VUE. Why do I have to use a Windows computer, firstly? 2, Oracle, please could you have a word with Pearson VUE and just say you've got a very happy customer, and potentially, I'm a CCNP network engineer. I've got a Cisco CCNP. That is not a trivial exam. I don't mess about. Oracle, you could have a CCNP network engineer moving across to take more and more of your exams, and I'm sure you want to compete with other cloud providers. You've lost me. I'm not going to be doing any more exams anytime soon. For a start, I'm not upgrading to Windows 11 or Windows 10 point whatever, so I've pretty much binned my Windows computer, and whenever I start it up now, I get messages saying that it's not secure, need to upgrade, blah blah blah. No. And any of you who've watched before, you'll know that I'm not upgrading it, because as soon as I try to upgrade Windows 10, it then forces me to uninstall VM Workstation, which is what, but virtually for the past year and a half, look at my channel. All of my scrapey, all of my videos have pretty much been done on a Linux distro, whether Ubuntu or Linux Mint, using VM Workstation. So yeah. Why does everybody have to use Windows or Mac to take an exam? Surely, well, Oracle should know. I mean, Java. Why can an exam not be taken from a Linux, Android, Chromebook, whatever? Yeah, I've got a Chromebook as well. So I've got a Chromebook, 2 Linux laptops, a Linux Mint PC, and I've got an old hard drive which I had to go into the BIOS and then make my PC boot from, so I could take the exam using Windows 10, and then this random service that was running in the background that I didn't even know was on there, to be honest. What was going to happen was, if you're proctoring the exam, then surely if somebody's got remote software on their screen, can you not see? No, you probably can't. But even so, surely you would see them. Surely you would see them randomly typing, when really, to take an exam, you only need the mouse. It was multiple choice. So if you were seeing somebody doing lots and lots of typing, or screen sharing, then surely you would see somebody typing when... Anyway, I don't care. The exam was a complete waste of my money and my time, and Oracle, have a word with Pearson VUE because they're a shambles. Pearson VUE, I've taken 9 exams with you over 10 years. All of them have been proctored, and I've had to travel to a test centre. And as much as that cost me lots of money, it got the job done. I passed every single one. However, I will not be taking any more remote online proctored exams. The staff were rude, unhelpful, and you have no method of contact. Now, I want my money back. If you don't, this video will stay up here. Other people can watch it. They can decide for themselves. They might just think I've got an axe to grind, but really all I'm doing is explaining how you have no form of contact and you do not proctor your exams correctly. Well, not even correctly, you do not monitor the exam takers at all. I was yelling at the screen for 5 minutes and you took no notice, so well done. Bye bye.